Hello, everyone. It's Sunday afternoon. You know what to do. It's time to just relax, do some drawing, or whatever you want to do. It's Sunday afternoon here now, but it might be the evening where you are, or when you're watching this on VOD. So just take this time to relax. Got my water. I've got my snack. Let's do this. So we're continuing with Shoggoth. The inking of. Obviously Shoggoth is not visible yet, which is fine. We don't know what Shoggoth's going to look like. Initially I drew this humanoid, and I think I might try that. And if I'm not happy with that, I might just do a big, bloody, massive mound of eyes. That's Shoggoth's thing, eh? Well, that's already a problem. Okay. So I hope you are well. Hope you're all, if you are watching this relatively close to a Sunday, I hope you had a nice weekend. I hope your week ahead is painless. Completely so, let's say. Okay, Illustrator has crashed already. So we're going to go to this screen for now, while I try and work this out. I'm going to update Illustrator soon. I should have done that before today, but I didn't. Oh, but that's life, eh? I've not had the time. That's fine. So let's get back to it. Let's see how many times we can make Illustrator crash today. That was an early one, so perhaps we're on target for beating last time. But let's say it's not going to do that. My hand's a bit shaky. That's okay. I don't. My Wacom is fairly old now. So it's my hand sort of gets stuck to it a little. Right. These are a bit more extreme than the other side, so let's cool them down a bit. Yeah. This is based on my partner's very curly hair. Or wavy, I suppose. Curvy enough for sure. Curvy enough to make drawing it difficult. Come on, you can do better than that. See, this is just really just tracing lines. It's still difficult. But I'm not particularly used to the Wacom. I use it for sketching, so you can be a lot more messy. But Illustrator has this wonderful feature where it smooths out lines, so it's not hideous. You can do smoothing on Photoshop, but it's laggy. It's not optimized. It's not like this. Just going to make sure that the audio is working. If anyone's there, I don't think that I have anyone here right now, but I'm going to assume it is. And hope that it is. And if it's not the end of the world, because nothing matters really. If anyone has any tips on promotion of a live stream, because I don't want to like spam everyone, I don't want to I don't want to annoy like Reddit communities and stuff. But it'd be nice to have a couple of people to talk to. And I have no idea what the YouTube algorithm thinks of me. But I'm not planning to do any sort of aggressive promoting ever. That's not what I'm here for. My main goal is to keep up some consistency with drawing. Finish some things that I started a long time ago that I believe are worth finishing. And this holds me moderately accountable for that. However, I'll do this for a couple of months maybe, and then start thinking about promoting it a bit once I have a few more videos up. Sticking to the Wednesday features and the Sunday live streams. And perhaps the YouTube algorithm gods will chuck my videos to some people. But there's no stress, no pressure. We're not doing this for views. Don't even think my channel can be monetized. Not currently, anyway. I think you need 10,000 subscribers, maybe. I think I have 30. If you were thinking of getting into live streaming, I would suggest just going for it, because I spent quite a lot of time faffing about, thinking of different ways to do it, and really I could have been doing it a long time ago without what I have. I mean, I'm just using my ancient webcam. It's a Logitech C920, but it's the one from like 2013, 2012 or something, when I built my computer, which seems to still be holding up apart from these Illustrator crashes. And speaking of Illustrator crashes, let's save. I don't know what that pop-up was about. Let's try and save again. Right, it's just saving now. Cool. Yeah, so I'm just using an old webcam. I do have access to a DSLR, but it's just, I can't get it to be 1080. There's various problems you will run into. If you have a modern DSLR, I think it's a bit easier, or perhaps not a Canon, something that offers some kind of free software. And there may be ways that I haven't found of doing it that work. I just haven't found them yet. I thought, oh, I need to get this, I need to get that. But none of it particularly matters, I don't think. And if you've got a webcam and you've got software you want to stream on, for instance, we're using Illustrator here, then you can just go straight ahead. Or another way to do it would be, if you just wanted to do videos and not live streams, would be to record on the, if you have access to a DSLR, record on that. Or phones these days are amazing. My phone is also old and crap. I think it's a 2016 £200 Samsung at the time, and I never used my phone, so I never upgraded it. But you could probably record beautiful video on just a phone. You don't need a DSLR. I use Premiere to edit, but I was told the other day by my best friend, and I trust him wholly, that DaVinci, which is free, is fantastic for editing video. So you don't need any programs, really. If you got a phone or a camera, grab DaVinci for editing. You can start making videos. I would suggest purchasing a decent key light. Not a decent key light. See, I'm using this light that I bought for painting Warhammer. It's just on a boom arm, attached to my desk. And it's great. It's fine. You don't need anything more than that. I've also got, you know, a fill light, which is just a lamp pointed at a wall behind my monitor. Off to the right here. And currently that's all I'm using for this video right now. Also have a little rim light that I use for videos sometimes. Sometimes I forget to put it on. And I've got like these, you know, that feature light in the background, that blue one. And that's just to like make them a bit prettier, I suppose. If you can get the basis of your lighting like through the camera straight away, then you don't need to mess around with LUTs and things in Premiere or DaVinci. Which I think is, it seems to be working better for me than, it's more consistent. I have used LUTs in the past that I feel like they're a bit extreme a lot of the times, but then, you know, you'll still chuck a little bit of, I'll increase the darks a bit maybe and bring up the lights depending. Especially on footage sort of filmed not in this space where there are variables. Now I can see with this bit, that's a shoulder going up, but I have forgotten to finish painting, to finish sketching this bit of hair. So let's make a decision on what we want this bit of hair to do. I think it could probably just come down. Yeah, let's bring it down nicely here. And bring it up and maybe join it with this guy. I feel like this is the one line I need to be precise about. Over here, did I really get that here? It doesn't. Okay, we have another Illustrator crash, which is wonderful. So, back to me. And we'll start again. Should I put a little Illustrator crash screen in? Just waiting on it to open again. And we're opened and recovered. Come on. Just trying to resave it as the correct thing. Okay. We're back again. Yeah, I was just concerned that this shoulder might want to come through here a little. How would it go? Come up here, and just maybe cut through here. Hey, don't do that. So if it's sort of just coming through there, then it can come through this bit of hair here. And let's say that hair there, there's more hair in there, let's say. That's coming somewhere. So that's just going to be hair. I'm going to leave this shoulder for now. No, I'm not. I'm going to do the shoulder, but I'm going to do it as one smooth line. Are we ready? Is it smooth? It could be, well, it could be better though, couldn't it? Okay, shall we do the unthinkable? I'm doing the unthinkable. Doing the thing that I was trying not to do. Just use the pen tool. I'm trying to do this whole thing using the brush tool, but the pen tool is more precise. And it's not cheating. Because it doesn't matter. Will it expand? No one will ever know. Okay, but it's not attached to these like these are. How do I attach these? There you go. No one will ever know. Apart from me and you. You and I. But yeah, you don't need anything to start streaming. Computer. I feel like most people have a computer. I mean, you can probably just do it on your phone. I mean, you can't use Illustrator on your phone, but say you want to start streaming, even painting, you could probably just do that on your phone. You wouldn't be. I don't know why I just clicked there. If you're like painting models and you didn't want a picture of your face on there as well, you don't need it. Probably just hook your phone up to YouTube Live and just start. So I've got this mic as well. Super cheap mic, the cheapest one on Amazon that came with an arm. It's like £16 or something. And it's absolutely fine. Just a cheap USB mic. And I know you can get really good mics for like iPhones and stuff. Really good external mics. And I don't think they're very expensive. I mean, it's It is Apple, so they might be, but I'm sure there's like third-party mics that are great. It's not expensive. I would say just don't wait until you have everything you need. Because I haven't. I did eventually decide to just start. Gonna save this just in case. Yeah, there's loads I need to upgrade. Illustrator obviously would be high up on the list, but that's just a case of hitting update. Don't know why it doesn't auto update, it just doesn't. Remember to drink your water. If you don't have any, go get some. And if you do have any questions about any software or hardware, again, just drop me a message because I'd be happy to answer anything. It's all like really basic, simple stuff. Once you get into it, it's not complicated at all. I don't know. I'm sure lots of people wouldn't find it complicated at all, but I'm sure there are people who have never thought about programs like OBS. I've been using OBS for a while, and it's great. Been using OBS to so I use my webcam as the camera because I like being able to record on screen as opposed to setting up a DSLR, have it pointing at me, not knowing if it's in focus, all that stuff. Coming back, taking the footage off the camera, putting it on the computer, and doing it that way. I don't like that. I like being able to record straight onto my computer. So OBS, super easy to set up. Set it up with loads of different scenes and everything. It's obviously great for live streaming. You switch between the screens because you can just switch between the screens. The scenes, I guess they are also that. Okay, I've lost my way a little here, so I'm going to just go back from the right. Start setting this side up. So one of the reasons I'm using this blob brush tool as opposed to the brush tool is, as you can see here, it's outlined and they all connect to each other instead of using the brush tool where you have lots of lines. It's very messy. And then you can just expand the appearance of them and everything. But I've also found that if you're using the blob brush tool, say I do a blob, a big blob, and I want to erase part of it, you can do that. When using the normal brush tool, I'll show you that as well. Here's your normal brush tool, which means it has a line through it and not around it. If I want to erase, part of it like this, it doesn't do that. I can only erase parts of the line that controls this. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter. I'm finding this quite messy. But yeah, like I said in the last Confronting Shoggoth stream, trying to be less precious with my lines. And I know it seems like I'm spending a lot of time being precious. This is far less precious than I usually would be. So to me, This is progress. And I'm hoping the more I do this, the more things like being less precious become second nature. I could just be happy with lines existing and not worried about how they're looking. So, like, see, this is fine. This doesn't have to be pretty. You're barely gonna see it. Just doesn't matter. Also, if anyone has any questions about drawing or like how to put together a piece, I will at some point film like a sketching process. It shows how I get to this like sketch stage where I'm now doing the line art. It's just the reason I'm not doing that on stream is because it's very long. It takes me a long time to. It takes me a lot longer to sketch than it does to ink. I like to get the sketch looking how I see it in my head, I suppose. But obviously things change as you go, and sometimes things look completely different to how you had them in your head, but they're still great, so you roll with it. That's some messy hair, isn't it? I don't know if anyone's seen any of my artwork, but if you check it out on my portfolio, should be a link in the description to my website. Well, I suppose I don't have that much straight away on my website. I should change that. But at the very least, I have a lot of my work on Instagram as well. So have a look on Instagram and you can see the finished pieces, how they end up. Though, of course, I am currently working on a completely different style. Okay, I think this is a bit that I decided, fuck it. And I think this is to be fixed now. So let's do that. Not. Yeah, I don't know what I've done there. No, doesn't matter. It's gone away. So I don't use Illustrator very often. I'm still new at it. I've been using Photoshop for so long. I think I started making band posters in Photoshop in about 2011. I used to work as a member of the bar staff at a music venue. And during the day, there was often not much to do once you come in and done the cleaning and that. So I'd do the posters for the bands that were going to be playing there. Would also do the A-boards with the horrible chalk pens. That's a nightmare. But did manage to work that medium out and got some really nice, cool looking A-boards. I'd basically just do the logos of the bands in chalk pen on the A-boards. I mean, it kills a day of where you'd otherwise be doing, not a lot. I mean, not much to do in a bar when you're sort of waiting for the, that sort of 12, open at 12, clean for maybe 2 hours. You could probably stretch it to 2 hours. You're not going to get much more cleaning out than that. That's plenty. And then, clear the area for the band if it's a Friday. Usually we'd leave it cleared for the Saturday bands and Sunday bands if we'd have them. We often have music on a Sunday as well. I think the first ever poster I made that was for that venue was for an open mic night, which never really took off because the pub was slightly out of town and there were already great open mic nights in the town. But we did have some great people like Sam Wills play it a few times. He was great, but I just don't think he ever had the promotion or we were such a grubby DIY music venue, and he's this like soulful, beautiful pop singer. So we didn't really have the crowd for him. But he still came and played, even when it was to a fairly empty room. He always put the time in. And now he's doing incredibly well. I was fortunate to fill in on drums for a gig with him once. It was very fun. Some of the most fun I've ever had on stage. It was originals and covers. I mean, these are old originals as well, though. This was from, I think these are originals from when he was like 15, 16, so they were the silly, lovey ones, I think. There was some good funk in there as well. George of Kid Capici is his regular Hastings drummer. Whenever he's playing in Hastings, George will typically play with him. I assume he has a different touring drummer because Capici are on tour fairly regularly, and I think the schedules would clash. I'm not sure who plays drums for Sam Wills out of town. But whoever you are, I'm sure you do a great job. Yeah, I think that the gig I filled in on George must have been, I think they might have been doing festival circuits at that point. Stop being jittery. Okay, that's 2 jitters. I'm saving it. A wise move, I think. How many crashes we had so far? 3? Thought it might have been worse after that first. Right, it really wants to jitter here. I think that might be my fault. Thought it might be worse after that first crash, like 2 seconds in, but do any of you play music? Send me links. Send me links to your bands, or tag me in your bands or something. I will absolutely check them out. I play drums mostly. I play a lot more guitar at home, but that's because I don't have a drum kit at home. Because who has that kind of setup? Only incredibly lucky people. Drums are so loud. Can't really play them at home. Luckily, I have access to a little grubby studio that is perfect for rehearsing drums. It is a fair distance away. Half an hour, 40-minute drive. But I do manage to get there once a week, and it's perfect. Perfect for me. It's exactly what I needed. I haven't had that for many, many years. a long time ago when I was working in that pub. There was a strip club just round the corner, and a couple of guys I knew from bands had rented a studio flat above the strip club. Because of the location, it was the perfect place to just put a little studio. So they rented this studio flat just to make a little actual recording studio in, so while they recorded an album. And so I used to go there. I lived just around the corner. I used to go there every day. Not every day, but regularly enough that it really improved my playing. If I had work, like an evening work, I'd go there, go play drums for a couple of hours before work. I mean, I lived the studio was in between where I lived and the pub. The pub was 2 seconds away from the studio, and I was about 30 seconds away from the studio. It was the perfect little setup, and I used to go in, I used to play Mars Volta, Bedlam and Goliath, Octahedron, Francis the Mute. I used to go in, I used to play those albums. What's the second album with John Theodore? Or is that Francis the Mute? I can't remember. There's 2 John Theodore albums, right? I used to play those. I used to play the 2 Thomas Bridgen albums. I pretty much learned every track off Bedlam and Goliath. And obviously, playing Thomas Bridgen regularly is going to make you a lot better at your instrument. God, it was great. It was probably quite bad playing to start with. Once there are a couple of parts where I remember just being so lost until I realised if I just listened to that bass line, that constant, perfect Juan bass line, it all becomes clear. Don't listen to the mess around it. Just listen to Juan. I got to see Mars Volta on their tour, but it was not long before they broke up for the third time, not sure. It was with the drummer Deontay, I think. Deontay. Can't remember his name, but it was that sort of more electronic driven drummer. And Omar's band, one of Omar's bands supported, and he seemed like he had an okay time with that band, and he really did not seem like he wanted to be there for the Volta gig, which was a shame. The sound was not fantastic. It was a bit of a weird gig, and it was quite a sad gig, you know, because Volta have been heroes of mine for 10 years at least. Heroes is a weird word. Musical heroes, not personal heroes. I don't know much about them, and I know that they have had their problems. But, you know, they're playing again. Hope they work their stuff out. It's tough being in a band, especially for that long, though. Heavy touring schedules. I suppose you have to find the fun and not stress about money, which is harder to do than say. Because possibly if you are leaking money and you need this money to survive. But you've got to remember that you're doing a thing that you love with your friends and that money is not a priority. And I would give equal writing credits to everyone. Unless someone just writes all the music. I've certainly been in bands where one person writes all the music. But yeah, I suppose there's a lot of ego in music. But I think that's not. I don't think that's true with all of it. I see these bands like Monuments, who just look like they're having fun. And then there's much more serious bands that are clearly putting so much effort into it, but they also are aware, very aware, like Periphery, very aware that you can't just make money from music and you need multiple avenues of revenue. So they start these side companies, Get Good Drums and 3 Dot Studios and stuff. So they're touring, they play the shows that they want to play, and they're playing them for fun and for the love of the music more than money. Please don't crash. I crashed. Okay, cool. That was a bad time to crash. I feel like I just got something done that I wanted to, but here's a big old error message. Let's go back to my face. Hello, everyone. Let's see how far we crashed back to. Gonna have one of these delicious peanut protein things. Okay, we lost a bit. It's not too bad. Wrong tool. To be honest, lost a bit that I wasn't massively happy with anyway. To change these weird angles. Stop jittering. I mean, it's worse, but it's fine. Got to be less precious. I could definitely do that one again. I'm absolutely still learning how to make things look good using this tool. So like, don't like how it bows down towards those edges. Adequate. Wonder how long it takes to get like spam bots or like porn bots or whatever. It's not even there targeting me. Well, maybe there's a crackdown. I certainly get less on Instagram now. I used to get them commenting all the time. Although I think they go to like every now and then I check my messages and you go onto some tab that's like automatically filtered out and it's full of them. I wonder why that exists. To get clicks onto dodgy websites to steal your details? Can it all be that? Can any of it be real? Maybe there's some people that really are trying to promote themselves by sending insane messages. Not that I'm saying I haven't or wouldn't do that. But they like tag thousands of people in these messages. They like send these messages, make group chats, thousands of people. They don't even get seen. They get automatically blocked by Instagram's messaging filters. Wild. So I realise I haven't been talking. Because I feel like I've run out of things to say. But we are doing coming up for an hour, so let's take a 5-minute break. Yep. See you in 5 minutes. Hello. Hello. Yes, good. So, I suppose let's get back to it. I just finished my snack and had some water. Yeah. I think as much as streaming is new to me, I think I should talk about why I'm doing it. One of the reasons is it's well out of my comfort zone. I have really bad anxiety disorders. A few years ago, the idea of streaming would have been terrifying. I wouldn't have even considered it. But through lots of CBT and lots of challenging myself, it didn't seem too daunting. It felt like something that I could use as an experiment to improve my anxiety or improve my management of anxiety. And, I don't feel too anxious when streaming. I'm not saying that there's no anxiety, because there absolutely is. But it's better than perhaps I thought it was going to be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly. And it could just be that I'm having a good January. I don't know. But yeah, I've got lots of things on my... I've made a anxiety hierarchy list. I haven't put streaming on there yet, but I'm working my way up through it. And gigging is the next on that list. So this is gigging without the aid of medication. And I mean that in a very literal, medicated, pharmaceutical sense. I probably used to self-medicate with alcohol, but I have quit alcohol, I think, 3 or 4 years. Last October would have been my 3rd or 4th year, I believe, but I'm not certain on that. 3 or 4th? 3rd or 4th year. But yeah, so streaming is well outside my comfort zone. It's not... Talking to people can be challenging. Doing something I love, not so challenging. But then it comes to gigs, I almost can't function, and I love playing drums. So the rules don't always work. But yeah, there's loads of things on my anxiety hierarchy. Might just grab it up to have a look. I've got rehearsing solo as my least anxious activity that I do. So that's just me going into the studio on my own, playing drums. I've marked that with a score of 1. Japanese. I do Japanese lessons with my best friend. His Japanese is pretty decent. He went to Japan recently, and he found all the Japanese he'd learned pretty useful, and he managed to have conversations and everything. His conversational Japanese is great. I mean, it's far beyond mine. I'm still sort of just learning how to read. We haven't got into that much conversation. I mean, we do conversation activities, but it's still reading from a sheet. It's not off the top of the head conversation, so we're not there yet. We will be one day. But I figured, start Japanese, I'll be able to speak it by the time I'm 40. If I don't start Japanese, I won't be able to do that. And I wanted a way to see him because he lives fairly far away and he is moving to Canada at some point. We used to live in the same town. I met him in year 7 English, and he was talking to sort of one of the chavvy guys just in front of me, asking them if they knew anything about anime or manga possibly. And I went, manga? And he turned round, and we have been best friends ever since. He is the sweetest, kindest man you will ever meet. And he animated the intro for my videos. Not the live streams, obviously, they're just a still image, but yeah. That was an awful line, wasn't it? So Japanese, for some reason, I think it's like the talking. I get quite anxious doing that sometimes. Not always, just sometimes. That's why it is a 2 rating on my anxiety list. I have another 2 rating, which is rehearsing with a band. So recently, I started a new band, and there was no anxiety. Absolutely fine. But occasionally, I get a bit anxious. Sometimes in the car ride to band practice. Sometimes when I'm playing, not when I'm playing, lulls between playing. Sometimes I get anxious then. And it's not always. Again, that's why it's a 2 in my hierarchy. If you have anxiety, I suggest trying a hierarchy. It's been incredibly helpful for me because it's something that you can go through and do those activities. So do the easiest activities, do that a few times, go up one, do that a few times. The next one I have is driving. So I've been learning to drive for a couple of years. I've been doing it properly, sort of 2 to 3 times a week for 3 or 4 months. And it started as maybe a 3, but I think I need to move that down now because my confidence has grown whilst driving so much, and sometimes I'm anxious when I'm not driving. So if I go out, I drive somewhere, I'm anxious when I get out the car, and then I'm not anxious driving to the place, and then when I get back in the car and drive home, I'm not anxious again. It's possibly a combination of, you know, having to think. You know, your mind's being occupied with not being a terrible driver or, you know, keeping yourself alive. My partner teaches me to drive. She is the best driving teacher you could ask for. That's not her job. She just has endless patience. And I think that's really important because lots of people, I've always heard horror stories of even driving instructors, but especially like loved ones, parents, whatever, teaching people to drive and it being a difficult experience because possibly these people lack some patience, and she does not lack patience. Certainly not with teaching. Probably she lacks some patience when I'm being annoying, which is absolutely fair enough. So yeah, driving should probably go down to a 2, I think. And weirdly, what I have as a 4 rating for anxiety is going for dinner. I just kept having panic attacks when going out for dinner. Don't do it very often. Don't have the money to do it very often. But occasionally, you know, birthdays or whatever, go out for dinner. and I just kept having panic attacks. So that's on there. I actually haven't managed to cross that one off the list. I skipped it because I go for dinner so infrequently. But I will get that crossed off soon. The fifth one is travelling by car. Or not the fifth one. Might be the fifth one. I think it's the sixth one. Doesn't matter. It is ranked 5 on my anxiety rating. That's travelling, yeah, by car. So that's not me driving. That is somebody else driving me. Cars used to be the only time. Well, not the only time. Trains I'm good with. Coaches I cannot do. Had a few horrible panic attacks on coaches in my early 20s. We used to always get coaches up to... We had a local band in town who used to do coach trips up to London all the time. So we'd get like 30 of us to go up there. It was messy, but it was fun. And yeah, awful, but been getting quite panicky whilst being a passenger in cars recently, or in the last sort of 6 months since I started doing this hierarchy. And that's sort of hit and miss, that one. It's not always, and I have managed to do it a few times, so I possibly am getting a little bit more used to it. It's about doing these things consciously, right? Having anxiety in mind, and if you are panicking, or if you experience anxiety, it's about accepting it and allowing it to happen and acknowledging it whilst being in these situations. The next one up is shopping. So like I said, when I'm driving, I'm okay. But say if I'm going shopping, if I'm driving to town to go shopping, I'll be fine in the car, then I'll be anxious in the shop, and then I'll be fine again in the car. I don't know why that is, but shopping is fairly anxiety provoking for me. So I have agoraphobia, so generally being outside is quite challenging. That's also a 5. And I have another 5, which is going for a walk. And this is not just like leaving the house. In the summer, I went for a few walks with my partner, and I weirdly, beautiful days in the woods, so it's not too hot. But I had a couple of times where I just got really anxious. Enough for it to be a 5 on this hierarchy. And I haven't... It's real cold right now, so I haven't had a chance to do that either. But I have been going for runs almost every day. Just a short run around the block at the moment because my cardio is shocking and my shoes are just old and also cheap. So I'm looking at getting some actual running shoes because my back's cramping up when I run. And my feet and shins are getting battered. I am about 100 kilos, so I think I need better than 10-pound shoes to support my weight. It's on the list. Funnily enough, the next thing, which is a 6 on the hierarchy, is actually doing CBT. And sometimes I'm super anxious when I'm doing it. This is the actual sessions of it. So these are video sessions. I think generally it's all video sessions now. Not sure if there's any face-to-face stuff. And again, it's a bit hit and miss, but there's been times I've been super anxious. I have one more on the 6 scale, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Sometimes it's not too bad, but I haven't been training very regularly. And I think that is making it significantly harder. Consistency really, really helps. When you haven't done something for a while, it's just scary. You know, once I get there and I'm actually doing it, love it. But sometimes getting there, finding that motivation to go through that anxiety is really tough. I think I would probably put streaming at about a 5. Maybe a 6. And Illustrator's crashed again. I'm not sure what count we're on. Here's my face again. Reloading it up. How much did we lose? A couple of lines. That's absolutely fine. Just going to resave this. Getting it in the right place. Yeah. Seeing Friends has a hierarchy score of 7. Now, this is like going for dinner with friends. I don't get to see them very often. Perhaps that adds to it. Not sure. But it can, and has been in the past, quite difficult for me. But I still want to do it, you know? That's what sucks about anxiety. It stops you doing things that you want to do. It stops you seeing people you love and care about. But they're all very understanding. So it's okay. Oh, the next one is powerlifting. So I recently started powerlifting. I have a lower back injury. I've been seeing multiple physios for a couple of years. And the most recent one, so I've done daily physio exercises for years with not much help. I've had all sorts of advice from them. And the most recent one said, why don't you try deadlifting? I thought, okay, I mean, so do the thing that hurts, right? Seems counterintuitive, slightly. But he did a little test and he found out. It was a simple test. It was just bending over, putting that pressure on my back where it hurt, and then taking that pressure off by putting my hands on something, which showed that there is muscle involvement in this lower back pain. So, deadlift strengthen your back. Luckily, I have a friend who is a powerlifter. He is massive. So I asked him, I said to him, got bad back and told to do some deadlifts. Could you help me with that? I went from my max load on my back that I could possibly manage, like very early on, was 80 kilos, nothing. I mean, I'm 100 kilos. I mean, back then I was probably 90, but 93 maybe. And within, let's say, 8 sessions, he got me to 150 kilos. So I'm now deadlifting 150 kilos. Whereas before my back could only handle, obviously the rest of my body could handle more than 80 kilos, but my back could not. I was absolutely the max load for my back. But powerlifting makes you a bit dizzy. Dizziness is one of my, I guess, trigger feelings of panic attacks. It's one of the first symptoms I get of a panic attack. So if I get dizzy in a situation which is unrelated to anxiety, it can sometimes progress into a panic attack because my stupid brain tricks me. Look at that. Oh, thought we'd finished the hair. Not quite. So yeah, powerlifting. However, did my first powerlifting session without medication a couple of weeks ago. I have since used medication for a couple of sessions, but it's still progress. And that's an 8. The next one up, so the next 2 up are, so the next one up is an 8. And that's watching a gig. Don't get the opportunity to watch many gigs. When I do, I don't want to be anxious. So I haven't managed to do that one yet, but I will. It's on the list, it's getting done. And then the next one is a 10. That's playing gig. Playing gig without medication. Absolutely a 10. I'm looking to book a really like low pressure gig, which will be probably cajon instead of full drums, because when you add drums you generally can hear less unless you've got a decent wedge, but still it's a louder situation on stage, which means you can hear less. When you've got cajon, you're sitting next to the person playing, and it's just that much less things to worry about. So I'm looking at booking one of them. And that's my entire hierarchy list. Streaming will be added. I suppose a couple of those things need to be shuffled around a bit, which is great. Nothing needs to go up. A couple of things need to go down, which means I'm making progress. So yeah, one of the reasons I started streaming was to do something outside of my comfort zone. Something which previously I would have not even considered being a thing I would try. I can do that hotline better. Come on. Let's do a quick save. I have a friend who also moved away. He does live streaming of games, and I've popped into his streams before and dropped him a tip or whatever. It's on Twitch, so it's different. He was always he's not very good with horror games. I would also put myself in that category because I'm not scared of horror, but horror games, oh my god, it's terrifying. So different. Why didn't that do anything? Why did that do something? Okay. But yeah, he was always streaming horror games, so he always had screaming to do. You know, constantly reacting to these horrible jump scares or whatever. Can't remember what he's played on stream. Must be Five Nights at Freddy's. He definitely seems like that sort of person. But I think he also did it. He has bad anxiety as well. I think he did it to get out of his comfort zone. Especially with horror. Yeah. I've thought about streaming games. So occasionally, me and my friend who do the Japanese will jump on a game. We doing the Portal 2 co-op run through because neither of us actually ever played it. So we're doing that. It's like a whole separate game for 2-player. It's awesome. Might chuck a couple of levels of that up. Might do that on stream. That'd be fun if I can get that sorted out. So we're both audible on screen, maybe. Not sure how to do that. We use Google Meet. I'm sure it's not that difficult to set up. So I'll give that a go on Sunday. But let's get this Confronting Shoggoth piece done first. I mean, look at these guys. It's going to take forever. I want to completely do this on stream, so all the line art, all the colouring, any texturing I might do, all of it on stream. If it gets to a point where it's a bit monotonous seeing me do a million black lines, especially when we get to here, then I might do a bit of that off stream. But I might not. Find out. If you can barely even tell when you get further away, then that's a bit wobbly. I'm going to do it again though. Not sure. How long have we been going for? Hour and a half. I think probably time to wrap up soon. Today I'm finishing editing and exporting and uploading the feature for Wednesday. And then probably we are currently borrowing a dog. We borrow this dog fairly regularly, sort of sharing it at the moment. She is a good dog. So I'll probably sit in the front room with the dog and my partner, eat dinner and watch Star Wars, Clone Wars. We're going through the Clone Wars series. Because I watched the Clone Wars movie when it came out and I thought it was amazing. Then the series came out and I just never had the time, never got the chance to watch it. But I've currently got Disney. So while I've got Disney, might as well get through everything that I haven't before. And it started a little sketchy. The budget was clearly low, but it's vastly improved. I'm quite deep into it now. Good few seasons. And yeah, I mean, even the storytelling is improving. It's very good. And then after that we got Rebels and the Bad Batch. We did Obi-Wan when it came out and Ahsoka when it came out as well. Both were awesome. The choreography on the first couple of episodes of Obi-Wan was shockingly bad. And then, you know, that big thing happened and it blew my mind. It was everything I wanted. And Ahsoka was just badass. Such a good character. I mean, as soon as I found out she's going to be played by Rosario Dawson, I was stoked. She is one of my favourite actresses. Not mostly, but the fact that she agreed to do Clerks 2 once she found out there was going to be a donkey show is something that is incredibly funny to me. Because she is such a well-respected and sort of high-class actress. And she did Clerks 2. She knew there was going to be a super silly scene in it. Oh, come on. Yeah, good for her. Ahsoka, it's the perfect casting for Ahsoka. I couldn't think of a better casting. I suppose Mandalorian 3 will be out at some point soon as well. Or Boba Fett 2. I think I preferred Boba Fett to Mandalorian, but I liked both. I just really liked those couple of episodes where Boba Fett was with the Sand people. It was just such like decent and deep storytelling, giving so much depth to both those characters. Well, Sand people as a general race, and sort of Boba Fett's values and how they've shifted over the years. I've only seen all these shows once, but must watch them again. Definitely Obi-Wan. Just for that fight. At the very least. And maybe watching those first couple of episodes knowing that it is going somewhere good. And it's just a bit of bad editing and bad choreography. Not anything on the choreographers. It could have been anything, any number of things that made that not stand out. And I mean, if it's the same choreographers that did all the Obi-Wan stuff, then they definitely can't be to blame. This hand's gonna need some finesse. I think I might just call it there. Got the other half of her hair done, and the arm and a bit of the body. Happy with that? So, lovely to see you. Lovely to see you, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.